Hello, dear friends. I'm Lindsay Stimpley, and it's time for your Monday Sparkle Up. So let's get into it. In this week's episode, we're going to talk about the magic of mentorship and even touch on the company you keep. So let's begin with a simple exercise. I'd like for you to make a list of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So draw from work, home, family, and think of anyone significant. In fact, I'd like for you to think of the people you correspond with, see the most, talk to the most, hear from the most. And so give yourself a second to just consider those 5. Got them? Good. So now consider this. You are the average of those 5 people. Oh my stars. If you've never heard that, that can be a mind-blowing statement. And it's exciting, but it's also sometimes like, uh-oh, wait a minute, hold up. And a lot of people have spoken on that particular statement and theory. So certainly look into that outside of this video if you're curious. But supposing we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with, how does that land on you? Huh? I think for every person in your life, and I have notes because I could talk about mentorship for days, and I know you don't want to be here that long, so I'm going to refer to my notes. Forgive me. So for each of those relationships, those 5 really close relationships, I think you should ask yourself, what kind of person am I becoming as a result of this relationship? And is it helping me to grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally? Am I becoming better as a result of this relationship? Do they bring out the best in me? Do they inspire me and encourage me to greatness? Do they encourage me to develop and stretch and grow? Do they empower me? You know, everyone's heard that phrase, birds of a feather flock together. And I think it's time to take a look at your flock. And so keeping all that in mind, I want to move on to the topic of mentorship. And we don't have that much time today, so I'm just going to try to hit some bullet points on mentorship. What is the value or the magic of mentorship? Well, a mentor is someone who has typically been where you want to be or where you want to go, at least in some capacity. So a good mentor will set an elevated expectation for you in order for you to rise to the occasion. They'll also stretch you, support your greatness and expansion. They'll celebrate your successes, and they'll offer you candid feedback, which in my experience is the highest form of respect. And in some cases, they may even help you to set some really clear goals and perhaps even hold you accountable. So that's a lot of greatness that you can get from one interaction, or from one interaction with one person. So, characteristics of a good mentor. So I called my mentor, naturally, Laura Juarez, to ask her what her thoughts were on mentorship. Ooh, kitten. That kitten needs a home, actually, if you would like a cat. But back to the point. Mentorship. I called her to ask her thoughts. And she gave me 2 really amazing points that I absolutely were not on my radar. So her first point around mentorship was, allow there to be a divine opening. Allow yourself to be open to the idea of a mentor. And as you are open to it, you know, as they always say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And so her point was that sometimes people want to force a mentorship. They think, that's the person I want to learn from, and that's the only person I can learn this stuff from. And they sort of turn it into being really focused on one person versus being focused on their general improvement. And so sort of just be open to the idea of elevating your personal state, and the right person will come along. So that was, and she said it so beautifully. I wish I could play you her message. It was ridiculous. I think she might be Oprah Winfrey. She's just amazing. But anyway, a couple other characteristics that I think are part of a good mentor. And so again, keeping in mind that you want to let this person come into your life, but you also want to look for certain things to make sure it's a good fit. So a few things are someone that you highly respect, admire, adore, someone who is where you aspire to be, someone who is available and personally interested in your growth. And what's really nice is if they're personally vested, or if they have a vested interest in your growth. So if they're going to benefit from your growth, then it really is a relationship that can take off. So someone who's willing to learn alongside with you, which is, I think, really important and overlooked in mentorship. Also, someone you like and someone that will be patient and respectful as they work with you. And just coming back to that point around divine opening and just sort of being open to your soul's wisdom around the right match and not forcing it to happen. We talk about this in yoga all the time, force versus allow. And when we force things, often they're a little clunky and sometimes there's extra friction. And when we just allow something to sort of make its way into our life in the right time and space, it's a much smoother ride. So keep that in mind in looking for a mentor. So lastly, I just want to close this segment by saying, remember that you personally are responsible for continuing to improve. So keep reaching, keep growing, keep improving, keep evolving, keep shedding the layers back and becoming your greatest self. And the second point that Laura mentioned that I thought was so brilliant was mentors aside and counsel aside, always keep yourself as a really solid point within your counsel circle. So even though you might be getting great advice from other people and sometimes not so great advice, it's important to always run it through your own filtration system, see how it lands and resonates with you, look for patterns in feedback from other people. We've talked about that. And also just be coming from a place of wanting your own wisdom to really be in the driver's seat and then letting other things sort of fold into your unfolding experience, if that makes sense. Also, I wanted to mention, be open to your mentor's feedback and actually do something about it. Laura could attest to this. There's been lots of times we had amazing sessions, and then I went back and I was too scared to do what I needed to do to take the next step. And that's frustrating for a mentor. She is fortunately outrageously patient, and I just keep turning up at her door like a little stray cat. So it's worked out. But honor your mentor by doing something about it, by letting what resonates with you from your mentor light you up and then take the action. That's the key piece. And lastly, report back and let your mentor know that they're making a difference. Let them know what you're doing. Don't wait for them to ask. Let them know the impact that they're having and the steps that you're taking, and stay close. And I would also say, and this is just coming to my mind, but create like a graduated schedule so that your mentor's not expected to meet with you once a week for the rest of your life, but that you're looking for certain criteria from this relationship. I want to develop greater time management skills or greater connection to self or greater decision-making skills, but have a few intentions in mind when you connect with a mentor so that you have some benchmarks and you know if you're achieving your set objectives. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you'll consider being open to a mentor coming into your life, because it's such an absolutely magical, soul-stirring experience. And I can't speak highly enough for my personal mentor, Laura Juarez. Thank you so much for absolutely everything. You're a legend. Laura, the illumination, I bow to you. And to you, viewing audience, I'm so happy you were here. Thank you so much. I can't wait to catch you next week for another Monday Sparkle Up. Bye for now.